So tympanum for hearing, and it is for balancing also. So tympanum also helps the frog to maintain balance when it is hopping, swimming and all that. Frogs, as I told you, they belong to a class called as amphibians. So amphibians are capable of living both in land as well as on water. So tympanum for hearing, and it is for balancing also. So tympanum also helps the frog to maintain balance when it is hopping, swimming and all that. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this session on revision class for first PUC Biology. I am Dr. Divya, Biology faculty, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So in this session, we'll learn about the structural organization in animals. That is, under this chapter, we'll learn about the synopsis, that is, in this chapter, what is there exactly, and then we'll move on to learning the important multiple choice questions, and then move on to 2 marks question and answers, because according to the blueprint that is given by the PU board, one multiple choice question will be asked which will carry 1 mark, and one 2 mark question will be asked. There will not be any 3 mark or 5 mark questions from this particular chapter. So this chapter entirely we need to study about the morphology and the anatomy of the frog. So talking about the morphology of the frog, that is the external features. When you look at a frog, the frog's body is divided into head and a trunk because it doesn't have a tail. So it is divided into a head and a trunk. So in the head, it consists of the mouth, and above the mouth, it has a pair of nostrils. Then above the nostrils, it has a pair of eyes. And the eyes are covered by nictitating membrane, and this is one of the characteristic feature of the frog, because in no other organism you can find this particular feature wherein, so these frogs, when they are in water, their vision should be protected. So for that particular reason, the eyes are covered by a nictitating membrane. And instead of ears, like how we have ears or other animals have ears, these organisms, they do not have a ear, but instead they have an opening which acts like a ear and which receives the sounds and all that. And that particular opening is called as, external opening is called as the tympanum. Talking about the trunk, in the trunk, the frogs, they consist of the forelimbs and the hind limbs. So forelimbs act like the hands for the frog, and the hind limbs or the hind limbs act like the legs for the frog. And the forelimbs, it is made up of 4 digits. That is, they have 4 fingers, and the hind limbs, it consists of 5 digits. So in male frogs, in their first digit, they have a copulatory pad, and this copulatory pad is very, very important for the mating process. So that is one of the distinguishing features where you can tell how the difference between a male and a female frog. Apart from that, the male frogs will also have vocal sacs, which is absent in the female frog. And moving to the anatomy of the frog. So anatomy, inside, what is the frog made up of? So in that we'll study about the digestive system of the frog, the respiratory system of the frog, the circulatory system, the excretory system, the nervous system, and then finally the reproductive system. So each of these one by one we will look into. So the digestive system is divided into the alimentary canal, that is the different parts which are present in the alimentary canal, and it is divided into the digestive glands. In those alimentary canal system, what are the different digestive glands that are produced? So talking about the alimentary canal. So the alimentary canal starts from the mouth, wherein the food is taken in by the frog through a sticky tongue which they just put it out, catch the prey and take it into the mouth. So the food enters into the mouth, then it moves into the buccal cavity, and then it moves into the pharynx, and then it goes into the esophagus, which is the food pipe. Then from the esophagus it goes to the stomach. Now in the stomach, what happens? They have the hydrochloric acid, some of the gastric juices which will be produced. So these are important for partial digestion of the food. Now that partially digested food is called as what? It's called chyme. Now that chyme moves to where? It will move into the intestine. Now in the intestine, the complete digestion of the food will take place, and there it will move into the rectum and the cloaca, that is through the cloaca, because in frog, be it the reproductive system, the excretory system, the digestive system, all that will end in a chamber which is called as cloaca, and then it will move to the cloacal aperture, that is the rectum, through which the excretory product will come out. So this is about the digestive system. Now there are some digestive glands also being present apart from the organs of the alimentary system. They are the liver and the pancreas. Now the liver, it secretes the bile, and the main function of the bile is to emulsify the fats. And the pancreas, it secretes various pancreatic juices, and the main function of the pancreatic juices is to digest carbohydrates and proteins. So all this will take place in the intestine of the frog, wherein the bile gets secreted from the liver. The bile will move to the gallbladder. From there, little bit of bile will enter into the intestine. There the digestion of the fat or emulsification of fat will take place, and the pancreas, meanwhile, it will start secreting pancreatic juices, which will again go to the intestine, and there the digestion of the carbohydrates and protein will take place. And after this digestion, whatever undigested food is there, that or digested food will be absorbed by the microvilli or finger-like projections which are present in the intestine, and the undigested food that is there, the cloaca, it will move to the cloaca. From the cloaca, it will move to the rectum and come out of the frog's body. So much is the digestive system of the frog. Next, moving to the respiratory system. So for breathing, what all they use? So frogs, as I told you, they belong to a class called as amphibians. So amphibians are capable of living both in land as well as on water. So when on land, usually they use their buccal cavity, their skin and the lungs for respiration, because through the skin also, the skin of the frog, it has minute pores which is capable of absorbing the gaseous matter that is present in the air. So therefore, buccal cavity, skin and lungs are involved in the other respiratory organs that are present in the frog or utilized by the frog when on land. And when it is in water, it mainly respires using skin, because there, when in water, it cannot use its nostrils, fur or mouth or the buccal to take in air. So therefore, it will have to depend on only skin. Not just that, frogs, when they are hibernating, that is when they are going for hibernation as well as aestivation, during that time they go into deep sleep. At that time also, they don't use their lungs for respiration. Instead, they directly use their skin for respiration. So this is about the respiratory system. Moving to the circulatory system. So now in frog, they have the blood vascular system and the lymphatic system. So blood, it is a red color fluid, whereas lymphatic system, it is a colorless fluid. Now talking about the blood vascular system. Now in the blood vascular system, it consists the main organ, that is the heart. And the heart, in the case of frog, it is made up of 3 chambers, wherein they'll have 2 auricles and 1 ventricle will be there. And talking about the blood vessels. Now, the heart is connected with numerous blood vessels which will carry the blood to the different organs. So, what are the different blood vessels? It consists of the arteries and the veins. So, the arteries which carries blood to different organs, and the veins which carries blood, deoxygenated blood back to the heart. Next, talking about the blood. The blood is divided into plasma. Now, this plasma is again a colorless fluid, or it is a fluid which has a pale yellow color, and it is very, very important for fighting against various infections and all that. And blood cells. Now, the blood cells, it consists of erythrocytes. Erythrocytes are nothing but RBC. It consists of leukocytes, WBC, and it consists of platelets. Platelets are very important for the clotting of the blood. Next, moving to the lymphatic system, it consists of the lymph channels through which the lymph flows through the entire body of the frog, and it consists of small pea-like glands which is called as lymph nodes, where during the process of infection and all that, lots of lymphocytes get trapped there to fight against the infection. So this is about the lymphatic system. Next, moving further, we'll talk about the excretory system. So in excretory system, the frog consists of a pair of kidneys. They are again bean-shaped structure, somewhat reddish to pinkish in color, and the kidneys are connected to 2 tube-like structures which are called as ureters. That ureter is connected to cloaca, and that cloaca is connected to the urinary bladder. Now here in the cloaca, they have the cloacal aperture, and it is through the cloacal aperture they excrete urea. So the excretory product in the frog is in the form of what? Urea. So that is why frogs are also called as uricotelic animals. Why are they called uricotelic animals? Because they excrete urea. So that is why. Next, moving further, nervous system. So nervous system is divided into central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is protected by a hard skull-like structure which is called as the cranium, and the spinal cord is protected by the bones that are present in the spinal cord or the vertebral column. Next, talking about the brain. So the brain is divided into forebrain, which is present at the front, the midbrain and the hindbrain. The forebrain consists of various functions. It performs various functions because of the presence of olfactory lobes. It has paired cerebral hemisphere and it has an unpaired diencephalon. So these are the parts present in the forebrain. In the midbrain, it consists of a pair of optic lobes which are responsible for vision. Olfactory lobes and all that are responsible for smell. Next, the hindbrain that is there, it is made up of cerebellum, medulla oblongata and foramen magnum. So medulla oblongata also participates in the digestion and all that is supported by the medulla oblongata. Next, talking about the peripheral nervous system. So all the nervous systems or all the nerves which connect to the central nervous system is nothing but the peripheral nervous system and comes from the sides, that is the forelimbs, the hind limbs and all that of the frog. It is divided into cranial nerves and spinal nerves. So those nerves which connect to the brain of the frog, we call it as the cranial nerves, and those nerves which connect to the vertebral column or the spinal cord of the frog, we call it as the spinal nerves. Next, autonomic nervous system, again it is divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic nervous system is responsible for fight or flight response. That is during danger, when you have to fight and when you have to flee from the place. That is decided by the sympathetic nervous system. So it acts like it gives you a reflex action. So next, parasympathetic nervous system, actually it decides when you have to calm down. That is decided by the parasympathetic nervous system. So that is the function. Next, moving further, sense organs. So sense organs, there are sensory papillae which are present throughout the skin of the frog that helps it to respond to touch. Next is taste buds which are present inside the buccal cavity of the frog or the tongue of the frog which helps it to taste. And it contains nasal epithelium in its nostrils which helps it to smell, and it contains eyes which helps it for vision. So tympanum for hearing and it is for balancing also. So tympanum also helps the frog to maintain balance when it is hopping, swimming and all that. Next, talking about the reproductive system. So reproductive system, we'll talk about the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system. So male reproductive system, it consists of a pair of testes. That testis is connected to 10 to 12 pairs of vasa efferentia, and that it is connected to the Byder's canal. To that it is connected to the urinogenital duct. That is, the ureter itself acts both for the carrying of the sperms as well as for passing of the urine. And then that urinogenital duct is connected to the cloaca. Next, in the female, it has a pair of ovaries which are connected to tube-like structures called oviduct, and those oviduct are connected to the cloaca through which the sperm can travel and reach the ovaries where the egg is being liberated. So we know about what exactly is there in this chapter, that is the morphology and the anatomy of the frog. Now we'll move on to important multiple choice questions. So which class of phylum Chordata do frogs belong to? It is amphibia, because they are capable of living in both water as well as land. So reptilia, all the reptiles come under reptilia, all the birds come under aves, and all the organisms which are capable of nourishing the young ones with the milk through their mammary glands are placed under mammals or mammalia. So next question, what is the most common species of frog found in India? It is Rana tigrina. So Rana tigrina is the most common species. So next question, what type of animals are frogs? Are they warm-blooded, cold-blooded, partially warm-blooded, partially cold-blooded? So they are cold-blooded, and instead of cold-blooded, no, they can give the word poikilothermus, because poikilothermus means cold-blooded and homeothermus means warm-blooded, but frogs are poikilothermus, that is cold-blooded. Next question, what is the ability of frogs to change their color called? Is it called mimicry, camouflage, disguise, or it is called secrecy? So now disguise, no, this term can be eliminated. Secrecy is also eliminated. The confusion lies between mimicry and camouflage. So there is a difference between mimicking and camouflaging. So camouflaging, frogs cannot camouflage. Camouflaging means changing of color. So frogs cannot change the color. Okay. So say for example chameleon. Chameleons, they camouflage because they change their color according to the background in whichever they are in, right? But frogs are not capable of changing their color, but the frog's color is in such a way that it can mimic the aquatic ecosystem or that land that is there near the rivers and ponds and all that. So therefore mimicry is the right answer. Do not write camouflage, it is wrong, because frogs are not capable of camouflaging, because the meaning for camouflage is changing of color. Frogs do not change color. Frog's color is itself in such a way that it's capable of mimicking the environment in which it is. So the right answer here is A, mimicry. Next question, what do frogs do during peak summer and winter? They migrate to warmer or colder climates, they hibernate and estivate, they change their color, they become active at night. So during peak summer and winter, they hibernate or they estivate. That is, so hibernate is winter sleep, during winter they hibernate, during summer they estivate. So they hibernate and estivate, wherein they go for long sleeps in burrows and all that, and during that time they use their skin for respiration. That also you need to remember. Next question, which name is given to the phenomenon of frogs taking shelter in deep burrows to protect themselves from extreme heat and cold? So extreme heat and cold means, is it camouflage, is it mimicry, is it estivation, is it hibernation? So answer is estivation and hibernation, both are same. So one more option, C and D. If C and D is given, you can choose C and D, because both also they will do. That is, during extreme heat, they will estivate. During extreme cold, they will hibernate. So next question, which of the following movements is not associated with frogs? Swimming, walking, leaping, flying. So frogs, they have a webbed feet which help them to swim, and their hind limbs are in such a way that they help them to walk and leap as well. So therefore, flying is the right answer, because flying, frogs are not capable of flying, and the question here is, following movements is not associated with the frogs. Next question, which of the following features distinguishes male frogs from female frogs? One of the important questions, sound producing vocal sacs, copulatory pad on the first digit of the forelimbs, both A and B, none of the above. It is both A and B, because the male frogs have vocal sacs as well as they have copulatory pad also. Now here, for example, to confuse you, if they ask, instead if they write here second digit, no, then don't choose this answer. Then you choose only A, because they don't have copulatory pad on the second digit. It's in the first digit. So you have to be careful with that also. Now both the options that I've given is correct here. So you can write both A and B. Next question. How many digits do frogs have on their hind limbs? Is it 3, 4, 5, 6? So in their hind limbs, they have 5 digits. In their forelimbs, if it is forelimbs, they have 4 digits. So if it is forelimbs, then they have 4 digits. The question I have asked here is hind limbs. So it is 5 digits. Next question, what helps frogs swim? Webbed digits, large and muscular hind limbs, long and powerful tail, smooth and streamlined body. So large and muscular hind limbs actually helps the frog to leap, okay, or jump. And webbed digits is the one that actually helps the frog to swim. Next, why is the alimentary canal in frogs relatively short? Because frogs are herbivores, because frogs are carnivores, because frogs are omnivores, because frogs are filter feeders. It is because the frogs are carnivores. So that is why the alimentary canal is relatively short. Option B is the right answer here. Next question. What is the function of the liver in the digestive system of the frog? To produce bile, produce enzymes, absorb digested food, none of the above. It is to produce bile. Produce enzymes and all that are produced by the stomach and the pancreas. Liver only produces bile. Absorption of digested food is done by the microvilli that is present in the intestine. So for this, produce bile is the right answer. Next, where is bile stored in the frog's digestive system? In the liver, in the pancreas, in the stomach, in the gallbladder. So whatever bile is secreted by the liver, it gets stored in the gallbladder of the frog. From there, whenever required, the bile is secreted to the intestine. So therefore, bile is stored in the gallbladder of the frog. Secreted by the liver, stored in where? Gallbladder. Remember that. Next question. What is the function of pancreatic juice in the digestive system of frog? Emulsify fat, digest carbohydrates and proteins, absorb digested food, none of the above. So pancreatic juices that is present that actually digest carbohydrates and proteins. Emulsification of fat is done by bile. So that you need to remember. So for this, digest carbohydrates and proteins is the right answer. Next question. What is the final step in the digestion process in frogs? Absorption of digested food in the villi and microvilli, secretion of bile by the liver, digestion of food by the action of HCl and gastric juices, passage of undigested waste through the cloaca. So final step in digestion is absorption of digested food in the villi and microvilli. That is option A is the right answer. Next, what is the function of the finger-like folds in the inner walls of the intestine called villi and microvilli? So what is its function? Absorb digested food, produce bile, produce digestive enzymes, none of the above. So digestive enzymes are produced by the stomach. Bile is produced by the liver. So therefore, its function is absorption of the digested food. Next question. What is the purpose of the common bile duct? To produce bile, to secrete digestive enzymes, to transport bile and pancreatic juices to the duodenum, that is the intestine, none of the above. So you might get confused with these two here, option A and C. So the common function of the bile duct means tube. So therefore it carries the bile. Whatever bile is produced by the liver, it goes to the gallbladder. From the gallbladder is connected to bile ducts which carries the bile to the duodenum, that is the intestine. So therefore the right answer here is to transport bile and pancreatic juices to the duodenum. Next question. What is the purpose of the cloaca in the frog's digestive system? To absorb digested food? No, that is done by the villi. To store bile? No, that is done by the gallbladder. To pass out undigested solid waste? It is to pass out undigested solid waste through the cloaca. Next question. Where does the digestive system begin in the frog? In the cloaca, in the stomach, then the pharynx, in the liver. Now here it is in the pharynx. If buccal cavity was given, we could have written buccal cavity. But here the option that I have given is pharynx. So we can write in the pharynx. So here in this question, you should not get confused. Where does the process of digestion begin in the frog? It is in the stomach. Okay, but the question here is where does the digestive system begin in the frog? So therefore, it starts from the pharynx because pharynx is the option that is given here. So next question, what is the term used to describe respiration in the lungs of frog? Buccal respiration, cutaneous respiration, pulmonary respiration, gaseous respiration. It is pulmonary respiration because cutaneous respiration is for respiration in skin. So for this it is pulmonary respiration. Where are the lungs located in the frogs? Abdomen, hind legs, thorax, head. It is in the thorax. Next question. During which conditions do frogs use cutaneous respiration for gaseous exchange? Swimming, aestivation, hibernation, both B and C. So it is during aestivation and hibernation. They use skin. So therefore the right answer for this is both B and C. This is the right answer. Next question. What is the function of the buccal cavity in land respiration for frogs? To regulate temperature, to protect the lungs, to help with gaseous exchange, to aid in swimming. So the right answer here is gaseous exchange takes place in the buccal cavity. So therefore, option D is the right answer here. So next question. Which of the following is not a part of the lymphatic system in frogs? Lymph, lymph nodes, lymph channels, blood vessels. It is blood vessels because the blood comes under the vascular system in frog, blood vascular system. Next question. How many chambers does the heart of a frog have? So it usually has 3 chambers. So if numbers are given, no, like 1, 2, 3, 4, then you can write 3. Now here what is the option given? 1 atrium, 1 ventricle. So atria is also called as auricle. Okay, so don't get confused. They can ask 1 auricle, 1 ventricle also. So 1 atrium, 1 ventricle. 2 atria, 1 ventricle, 1 atrium and 2 ventricle, 2 atria and 2 ventricle. Now I told you the heart of the frog consists of 3 chambers. So here 1, this I can eliminate. Here again here 2 and 2. 2 and 2 means it will be 4. So this we can eliminate. Now it is between B and C. So 1 atrium and 2 ventricles, 2 atria and 1 ventricle. So usually atria will be more in number. So therefore it is 2 atria and 1 ventricle. Next question. Which membrane covers the heart of the frog? Is it endocardium, myocardium, pericardium, epithelium? It is pericardium. Next question. So what structure connects the right atrium of the heart in frogs? It is sinus venosus. So sinus venosus is a structure that actually connects the right atrium of the frog, of the heart in the case of frog. Next question, what is the sac-like structure on the ventral side of the frog's heart called? Is it called atrium, ventricle? Atrium, ventricle are the chambers in the heart. Is it called conus arteriosus? So it is a sac-like structure. So pulmonary veins cannot look like a sac. So therefore we'll eliminate this. Ventricle and atrium are the chambers of the heart. So therefore option A and option B also we can eliminate. Therefore the sac-like structure is nothing but conus arteriosus. Next question. Which system in frogs include a venous connection between the liver and the intestine? Now this is a venous connection. Is it renal portal system, hepatic portal system, or arterial system, or venous system? It is hepatic portal system because hepatic means something connected to the digestive system. Okay. Renal means something related to the kidney, that is the excretory system. So therefore here it is between the liver and what? Intestine, something related to the digestive system. Liver means hepatic. So therefore hepatic portal system is the right answer here. Next question. What type of waste does the frog excrete? Carbon dioxide, oxygen, urea, glucose. It excretes urea. That is why frogs are called as ureotelic animals. So next question. What is the function of the mesorchium? Mesorchium is nothing but the peritoneum. This peritoneum actually, it acts like a membrane lining which holds the testes onto the kidney. So therefore its function is to hold the male reproductive organs in place, especially the testes. Next question. How many vasa efferentia do male frogs have? Is it 5 to 7, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, or 12 to 15? It is 10 to 12 vasa efferentia they have. So these vasa efferentia are nothing but finger-like projections that arises from the testes. How many finger-like projections will be there? 10 to 12. That is vasa efferentia 10 to 12. Now where do the vasa efferentia enter in frog? The testes, the kidneys, the cloaca, the oviduct. From the testes it connects to the kidney. So it enters into the kidney. How many numbers? 10 to 12 in numbers. Next question. What does the urinogenital duct communicate with in the frogs? The testes, the kidney, the cloaca, the oviducts. So urinogenital duct, we can remove this because urinogenital duct is not present in the female frog. So it has nothing to do with the oviduct. So what does the urinogenital duct communicate with in frogs? So it communicates with the testes. So it communicates with the testes, that is you can say, or we can say it communicates with the kidney because it is connected to the kidney as well. Next question. How many ova can a mature female frog lay at a time? So ova means here egg. So how many eggs it can lay? 2500 to 3000 eggs it can lay. So this is about the important MCQ. So next let's move on to learning about the 2-mark question and answers. So first question, how are the colors of dorsal and ventral sides of the skin in frogs? So you have to write the color. So the dorsal side is generally olive green with dark irregular spots on it, and ventral side it is uniformly pale yellow in color. So you write about olive green with dark irregular spots, you will get 1 mark. If you mention that is the ventral side, that is the lower side of the frog, if you mention it is pale yellow, you will get 1 mark. So therefore 2 marks for this. Next, how are the male frogs distinguished? Distinguished from what? From the female frogs. So you have to write about the vocal sacs, you have to mention, and you have to mention about the copulatory pad on the first digit. So these two you write, you will get 2 marks. Next, what is the difference between cutaneous respiration and pulmonary respiration? So cutaneous respiration, the difference is cutaneous respiration is involved when the frog is in water, and here skin is involved wherein it acts as a aquatic respiratory organ, whereas pulmonary respiration involves lungs, and it is when the frog is on land. So much you write, you will get 2 marks. Next question. What do the blood vascular system and lymphatic system consist in frog? So blood vascular system consists of heart, blood vessels and blood. Lymphatic system consists of lymph channels and lymph nodes. So much you write, you will get 2 marks. Next question. Differentiate hepatic portal system from renal portal system. So hepatic portal system is the special venous connection between what? Liver and intestine. Renal portal system is the special venous connection between the kidney with that of the lower parts of the body. So these two you write, you will get 2 marks. Next question. Name any 4 endocrine glands of frog. So each endocrine gland, it will carry half a mark. So therefore totally 2 marks. So pituitary gland, parathyroid gland, thymus and pineal body. These 4 you write, you will get 2 marks because each carries half a mark. Next question. How are frogs beneficial to mankind? Any 2 points you can write. Frogs eat insects and protect crops. Next point. Frogs maintain ecological balance because they serve as an important link in the food chain and food web in the ecosystem. And in some countries, the muscular hind limbs of the frogs are used as a delicacy. So any 2 points you write, you will get 2 marks. Next, describe male reproductive system in frog. So it consists of what? You have to write a pair of yellowish ovoid testes, and the testis is attached to where? To the upper part of the kidney. How is it attached? It is attached by a double fold membrane, that is peritoneum, which is a membrane lining called mesorchium, and the testis is connected to the kidney through finger-like projections called vasa efferentia, which are 10 to 12 in number, and the vasa efferentia enter into the kidney and it opens into the Bidder's canal. Finally, it communicates with the urinogenital duct and then it connects to the cloaca, and through the cloaca the sperms come out. So much you have to write. Next question. Describe female reproductive system. So it consists of what? A pair of ovaries. Where are the ovaries present? On either side of the kidney, near to the kidney, and it has no functional connection with that of the kidney. And from the ovaries, a pair of oviduct will arise and that oviduct will open into the cloaca separately. So much you have to write. Next question. Describe excretory system in frogs. So excretory system, what all is there you have to write. It consists of a pair of kidney. That each kidney is connected to tube-like structure called ureter. That ureter is connected to the cloaca and then to the urinary bladder. And the color, now talking about the kidney, the color of the kidney is dark red and they are bean-like structure, and each kidney, it is made up of several structures or functional units which are called as nephron, and from that 2 ureters, as I told you, how I explained to you, right, each of these. So from that 2 ureters or tube-like structures called ureters come. That ureters, it is also called as the urinogenital duct because it helps in carrying the urine as well as the sperm also. The ureters are connected to the cloaca to the urinary bladder, and from there the urine just passes out through the cloacal aperture. So much you have to write. So this is how you have to write about the excretory system. So it is just for 2 marks. So write one sentence. If you write for each of the part also, it is enough. So these were some of the important 2 marks questions that can appear from this particular chapter. So I hope you found the session useful. We shall meet again in the coming session discussing some important questions under a new chapter. So see you in the next session. Thank you.